Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and I want to talk about Static Season 1 because it came out today, and let's just say it was meh. It was definitely meh. But I want to talk about these few articles that I found. One of them is talking about how Static's new creators on reimagining the superhero for the Black Lives Matter generation, and it's just like, oh my God, what the hell? And then another article talking about I believe Static season one is proud to celebrate black hair natural beauty. Again, what the hell? What the actual hell? This is not what I want to see for bringing back Static Shock. I don't want to see stupid articles like this because it's not interesting. So let's talk about the black hair thing because this is the thing that's annoying. So an article that was written by Charles Poole Moore, who needs Jesus and obviously ain't read a damn comic book before. Basically, they're talking about how Virgil's hair is an important beauty part of being black, really. So basically here's one they were talking about. One of the subtitles, but very significant ways coming depicts how Virgil family and their blackness are core parts of their identity is through the character's design, specifically their hair. Vita Ayala spoke to IO in detail. I know that one of Drapier's goals was the kind to portray all different things that we black people do with our hair, just like little details. Like he was super proud of himself getting a do rag in the Zero issue, and I was like, yeah, good for you, man, because I don't know other artists that would have put it there. You don't, or you didn't read any books is the question. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You guys talk as if this has been the first time characters had do rags on their heads or wore their hair naturally before. But okay, let's see what else is they talking about. Throughout Static Season 1, Virgil's hairstyle changed in many ways that don't necessarily have much bearing on the action, but context detail about where he happens to be and how he decided to leave the house that day. These are small but meaningful visuals specifics further illustrate who Virgil is as an individual, but they also do important work showing you have some black people present themselves, something in comic book industry has not always been particularly good at. Says who? Says who? Again, have you guys not read comic books? There, when black characters did show up, they did wear their natural hair. And then they did have different hairstyles. I mean, Monica Rambeau went through different hairstyles. She had her Afro puff, then she went from her braid, her split braided. Then she went to dreadlocks. Then she went to pressed down long hair where she smoothed out her hair. Then it was short hair. Then it was a short Afro puff. Then it went back to braids. Then it went back to her most iconic look now is the white hairband with her dreaded head. Like, what are we talking about? The same thing for Luke Cage. Luke Cage started off with the Afro puff centric, and then it went to a mid fade and a low fade. Then it had braids for a little bit, and now he's just straight bald. And let's be honest, one of the most iconic female characters in comic book history, Storm. I mean, hello, she went through so many different hairstyles between puff balls, spiked hair, braids, long hair, mohawks. Come on now, let's stop pretending like these characters never wore different hairstyles before. And that's another thing. Like, why is this even an important topic? Okay. That attention to detail Viola added is something readers should be expecting to see throughout the book. And when it comes to characters' experience, I don't define who they are, but do tell you some things about where they're coming from. Virgil, he's like my favorite thing. He's a little bassinet in there, and that's kind of wows up on the top. And his mom won't let him walk out the house without actually doing his hair. Okay. So Nicholas and Crisscross attention to detail is really incredible for me. I see it all, and that I'm like, all right, well, I got to go and try to match this guy and give him more opportunities. And it's just like, why is there why is there a story about Virgil's hair and the blackness of his hair, like as if we've never seen black hair before in comic books? But of course, that's what happens when you don't read comic books hardly. And then this one right here, Static's new creators on reimagining it. How do you survive and keep the optimist in a heroic nature? Okay, so okay, so basically we already know that Vita Ayala and Nicholas Drapier are daunted with the task of reimagining Static Shock, the all-new incarnation for the iconic milestone superhero in a contemporary setting. So basically, they stated, I want the kind of take on him to put him into our context. What does it mean to be that kind of character? Slightly annoyed, but in a cute way. A really, really smart black kid in 2021. And how do you survive and keep the optimist and keep that kind of heroic nature? First off, I read season one, the first run, and I read the preview issue. There was nothing heroic about Virgil Hawkins at all. He came off as a jerk. And that's not how you want the character to be portrayed as. You don't want your main character to literally come off as some kind of, you know, jerk off, but we're supposed to be rooting for him. But how can I root for him when he literally fries his bully in front of people at school because his anger got the best of him? That's not Virgil Hawkins. And trying to put it into contemporary today's time is stupid. It's dumb because these kids today don't understand things because we've been censoring things from them, and we trying to come up with this whole black people are 24/7 oppressed. I'm not saying that we don't go through struggles. We all go through struggles, but we can't keep being victims. Your story should have reintroduced Virgil in the DC comic book universe, and that's it. You didn't have to reimagine his story. You didn't have to make his story match Black Lives Matter, because that, first off, there is a lot of issues going on with the Black Lives Matter thing any goddamn way, and I wouldn't want to be associated with that any kind of way. And you tied Virgil, the Bang Babies, all to that kind of stuff and trying to say, oh, it was peaceful. How was it peaceful protesting if these kids, a lot of them become villains? At least with the original origin, you had it because it was a gang war that there are gangs still to this day that happens. You just don't hear about it as often because it's not as prevalent, but it still happens in these black communities. Don't pretend like it don't happen, and to try to be like, oh, this is better, the Black Lives Matter thing is better than a gang war that broke out and these kids started a fight. The cops went in, they shot tear gas, and they accidentally shot some experimental stuff that was out on the Pure Harbor, and that gas kind of, exploded throughout the city. So at least if you introduce new Bang Babies, at least there are some that don't want their powers. The reason why they're bad, because they were already bad people to begin with. You get what I'm saying? But to try to tie it into, oh, it's a peaceful protest, but yet there are about 500 villains coming from them, makes no logical sense. I'm sorry, you're not going to convince people like that. It's not a good look, to be honest. And basically, she also states the quality of Virgil heroism is his ability to see havoc wrought in the wake of the Big Bang, be terrified by it, and nevertheless resolve to make things better for his community. It's not his higher order, I'm going to save the earth. It's like, I'm going to save my block. Which, again, I read the first issue. I didn't see that. I didn't see that at all. I saw a black kid losing his mind over his bully and electrocuting him. And what, you didn't think there were going to be any ramifications of that? That some of his friends saw him, some people in public saw him. Then his bully decides to go to his house and confront him and burn his house in retaliation. You see how dumb That is, you see how there's a reason why you need a secret identity? There's a reason why Francis didn't know who Virgil was, because of how dangerous of a character he is. Like, I don't know what you guys were thinking with this reimagining, but it's just not it's not vibing with me, and I'm just being honest. Okay. She also continues. We work very hard to give the fans something this familiar. Drapier said, but there's come to a point where you realize that you're telling a different story and you're doing your own thing. You're not your predecessors. You have to respect them, but in the end, you ultimately have to try to make it your own. So I think that's what we were trying to focus on. Oh, you made it your own, all right. You diverged so far from what Virgil Hawkins is that this comes off more as a fan fiction, and that is the sad thing, because I want Static to be good, but it can't be good, not in this kind of climate. Not when you literally made Static the face of the Black Lives Matter movement. You don't need you don't need a hero to be the face of that kind of stuff. We don't have heroes being the face of protesting movements. They can stand for stuff, he can support it in his own way or whatever, but he should never be the face of Black Lives Matter. It's okay if people do fan art of it or whatever and stuff like that. That's okay. But I don't need to see any of the heroes taking a side, because they can't take a side. They're not supposed to take a side. That is the whole point. The more interesting is how you make a conflict like that and try to have the hero hear everybody out, but without giving a definitive answer, but having the character struggle with that definitive answer, like, whose side am I on? Whose side do I not take, or whatever, stuff like that. That's more interesting than, the cops decided they want to shoot experimental gas into a crowd that's supposed to be peaceful. But remember, we don't have the contents of why this whole thing started anyway. We're just supposed to assume that, Black Lives Matter, which, again, that's a political thing that people do not want to see. They didn't like it in Batgirl, and they're sure as hell not going to like it in Static. So I don't know what the hell you guys were thinking. Like, this is a great idea. Let's put politics into it, but let's put Black Lives Matter into it. No, that is the problem. We don't need to see black struggles. When you're introducing black superhero characters, their first outing, especially having been around in a long time, should be them saving the day some kind of way. I should have been seeing Virgil saving the day, stopping a Bane baby from robbing a bank, stopping a Bane baby from attacking the mall or something like that. That is how you get me invested in issue number 1 or whatever and stuff like that. But this right here, where he's upset, he got a chip on his shoulder and all that kind of stuff. His bully found out he has powers, and now his bully is going after him or whatever and stuff like that. I don't know. It wasn't a good idea at all. So, of course, it says Static Shock Season 1 picks up after the events of Milestone Return Issue 0, where Virgil witnessed a chemical warfare attack penetrating by the Dakota Police Department against Black Lives Matter protests, resulting in dozens of gruesome civilian deaths and triggered the meta-human generation phenomenon known as the Big Bang. Following the aftermath of the Big Bang, Virgil struggles with his internal and external consequences wrought by the events endowed by this immense electromagnetic powers. And I'm like, wait. Why would police shoot people with untested chemical warfare tear gas? Make that make sense, folks. Make that make sense. Police are sometimes police can be something, but it's hard to believe that they would make experimental tear gas and didn't test it on people. I can't flow with that. That police officers would purposely not police officers, but whatever company manufactured this stuff would purposely give it to the cops without the cops testing that stuff out on people. You, it's still a new shipment of tear gas. They still have to test that stuff out. They have to monitor, make sure it doesn't hurt people before they just go and shoot it out like that. Now, if we were talking about bullets or a taser or something like that, sure, that this might can do something. But I'm not saying, because what you're doing is you're trying to put blame on the police officers for doing that. When in the other one, the reason why the people got powers is because the police was trying to break up a gang fight, and they were on a pier that had the experimental stuff on the pier. So when the cops shot into it and it hit the case or whatever, it blew up and the gas spread out. That's way more telling than, oh, they were at a Black Lives Matter protest, so the cops threw experimental gas in front of people and like a whole bunch of people got gassed or whatever, and the gas was killing folks. Really? Really? And then the world just went back normal? No. The whole city would have been locked down. The government would have been a hazard thing. Like they probably wouldn't. There probably would have been a curfew and all kinds of stuff. So no, I'm sorry. This right here, that nonsense right there, just doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me on a reader level. What I wanted to impart was, even if you survive a massive trauma or something happening to you in your community, it affects you. You cannot escape that. Seeing those things, even if Virgil had not gotten any superpowers from being there, seeing things he saw, it changed him. It changed his family, even though he was the only one that was there. That's the impact of the events that we have in our community. And I'm just like, okay, sure. Okay, so and then she also continues. It's an incredible supportive environment. I've been made feel comfortable going, well, actually, based on how you set this up, I think it's probably what would happen. And all of the discussions that I've had with people, both in terms of people working on Static and also working on books, have been incredible. It has really, really been incredible. I feel like, a fanboy, and also a peer. The discussion are very honest and supportive. As far as whether or not Static Shock Season 1 is considered a full-on reboot, or whether fan favorite antagonists like Blood Syndicate will be making its appearance down the line, Viola was also adamant that the focus of the new series would be how the incarnation of Virgil matures into the hero that fans know Static to be. The goal of the first arc is to make him into Static. No, 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 no. Your goal is to have reintroduced him as Static Shock and went from there. That is your goal. I don't need you setting nothing up. I don't need you setting nothing up. This isn't a TV show. This isn't a TV show. You say that nonsense for a TV show. When it's a comic book, no. No. We already know who Static Shock is. He has a animated TV series that's a fan favorite. I don't need you resetting him up. I don't need that. I need you to reintroduce him into the DC universe, right? And just go from there. That's it. I just need Static to go and save the day like he normally has been, and have a big arc that involves him. A big, welcome back Static Shock arc that, have him dealing with a big major superhero. Not this, it's gonna take all the way until however many issues of season 1 it is in order for him to finally become Static. Great. So we're not even going to see the costume until probably later on down the line. We're probably not even going to see it until issue number 4 or 5 or whatever. And that's so dumb. It's so dumb. Okay. Let's see what else she says. And that's something that, we'll usually see in him when he try to figure out stuff on his own. I feel like they're already giving us a lot of freedom to play with the story and to do a lot of things. Just feels based on our own sensibilities. So I think that even though, it's a strict reboot, or rather, even if we're going to incorporate things that have come before, if we do, it'll be in complete different new ways. And okay. So yeah, and that's really it. That was really it for the static thingy. But my overall thoughts is it's not that good. It's not a good it's not a good reintroduction of Static Shock. That's the problem too. Is like you want this to be the magnum opus of the Milestone universe, right? The bringing back all of these black characters that people have fond memories of to this day, and this is the magnum opus you decide to go with. Oh, Virgil being angry, he attacked his bully in public. His bully got mad and decided to attack his house and set his house on a blaze. That's it. That is literally really what happened in the book. There is really no Virgil saving the day. There is no Static Shock costume or any of that kind of stuff. So to be honest, Vita Ayala, you failed. You failed. You failed. I that's and it's on you. It's on you. It's on the creator. It's on the Milestone imprint, and it's on DC Comics for even allowing that. I don't understand how hard it is just to reintroduce a character into the continuity. You don't have to reboot nothing. You can do slight updates, but that's it. You don't need to reboot. Nobody asked you to reboot the characters. The characters were fine. Just like when they were talking, when Milestone people were talking about how they got so much hate from when a lot of people was upset that they were rebooting it. There's a reason why people are fond of these characters. Don't reboot something that doesn't need a reboot. All you had to do was just update a few things here or there. But you completely changed everything about Virgil. You completely changed everything about the Big Bang. And you probably changed everything about Icon and Rocket. I bet she's probably not even going to have her baby anymore. And she was the first teenage mother in comic book history. Want to talk about representation and diversity for a woman? I'm just being honest. Then you had the Blood Syndicate that had trans characters on there. I mean, let's stop pretending like all of this diversity stuff didn't happen until now. But you need to start treating these heroes as heroes. Their first instinct should be heroic. Their first instinct shouldn't be, oh, I'm going to attack somebody in public because it's 2021, or the kids are dealing with Black Lives Matter. Okay, and that don't mean you bring that into the comic books. If you do bring it in there, you have to be smart about it. That should never be that. Black Lives Matter should never be tied to a character's origins like that. The only way that it ties, if it's a brand new character, not an established character that people already know about. And if you do that, you have to do it in a creative way, whether the character is going to be a good guy or a bad guy or something like that. But you need to do something. But this wasn't it. This wasn't it for me. I already said, it just wasn't it. And I'm just disappointed that we're dragging this black character down the drain for some political nonsense of blackness. Yes, he's black, but that's not all he is. And you need to get that out of y'all heads about the character being black. You need to understand he's supposed to be a superhero first and foremost, who just happens to be black. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Tell me what you guys think about Static Season 1. Did you guys read it? Are you going to read it? If so, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.